So, Mr. Brawley, state's coming up this weekend?
It is, yes.
Sweet. How you feeling about it?
Feel really good.
Good.
Feel really good. Had a really solid run of the show last weekend, probably our best of the year. We're moving in the right direction. I think we're going to peak at the right time. So,
For sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, where's state held at again?
It's at UK. So the semifinals are actually at Frederick Douglass High School, the brand new high school in Lexington. So we have a fresh turf field this year for semifinals. Last year we had that mud bowl, which was interesting. It kind of evened out the field a little bit more than we would have wanted it to. But that's all right. This year we have a turf field, excellent facility, brand new, newest one in town. And then if we're fortunate enough to be in the top 4, we'll move on to finals, which are at UK at Kroger Field.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right. You feeling excited for the weekend?
Definitely.
Sure?
Yeah, definitely exciting. I mean, this is the biggest weekend of the year for the marching band. You know that for sure. We've done really well at state in the past. We've won 8 state championships with the marching band here. So it's something that we're really proud of and really striving to try to get back to that level. We fell just a little bit short last year, but we have a really good group and a really good show design.
Yeah.
So we feel really good about our chances. So yeah,
for sure. So regionals last week, we lost by less than 1 point, correct? Yeah. Less than 1. Darn, close margin.
It was close, yeah. We won 3 of the judges and they won 3 of the judges. The margins that they had were just a little bit bigger than the margins we had. So it was definitely a close contest. We felt really good going in because we had been up by several points going into that week over that group. But things happen from week to week.
Yeah.
Sometimes things happen, but I feel good about our chances next week.
For sure.
In a bigger stadium, I feel like our show can really sell and project in a big stadium with just our show design and concept.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Also, looking forward, completely new panel of judges, right? So there's no we know how they did at regional. So
yeah, we've looked at the judging panel. None of the judges have seen us all year long. So they'll all have a fresh perspective on the show. They're all out-of-state people, so none of them are in the Kentucky scene at all. They don't watch any Kentucky groups all year long, so it's a completely fresh perspective for all those judges. So that's going to be really good for us, I think, because we design our shows to fit on a national level in a big stadium. And that's really where that's where your season ends. That's what you're really shooting for. So we try to design everything to fit the bigger stage rather than the smaller high school like venues. So that's why groups sometimes tend to beat us in smaller stadiums, and then when we go to a big stadium in finals, we can sometimes come out on top. So
so this is your second year at Beechwood, correct? And you're liking it so far?
Yeah, it's great.
Awesome.
I love it. It's Coach Getz says it on the sports announcement every Friday. It's the greatest school in the state of Kentucky. So
for sure.
And I would agree with that. Between the academics and the athletics and the music program and the arts, it's impossible to find a school that does all of those things at a higher level than Beechwood. And being a 1A school on top of that, it's just amazing. The schools we're competing with and all of those different fields are huge schools with huge talent pools. It's pretty amazing what we can do with a smaller group of kids, obviously still the same amount of talent, but just less kids. It's pretty remarkable. So, yeah.
All right. And then, second year, liking it. You designed this show from the ground up, right? Okay, yeah. So last year we kind of inherited it, right?
Yeah.
So this year we got the show built. It was you, Rob Depp, Mr. Sloan, and that just that design process. How long does it take usually?
Mr. Sloan and I sat down and we started listening to music in December, January, in that time frame, and then by February we had an outline of what we wanted music-wise. We had decided on 4 songs that we really liked and we thought they worked well together. We put together what we call a cut track, which is the original pieces of music spliced in a computer program so they flow like a marching band show would. Yeah. And that's actually what we played at the show reveal back in April was the spliced version of the show. We start putting that together in December, January, and then normally by February, and that's kind of the timeline we're looking at for next year too. Yeah. By February we kind of have at least a rough outline and idea of what we want to do. So by the end of the school year, our music arranger can start writing the actual parts that will play. So,
for sure.
Yeah.
So I know progress is always slower later in the season, no matter what you're doing, any activity. So how hard do you think you'll be able to close a gap with that in mind?
I think the groups that we're really trying to compete with and trying to strive to be with, I would say Murray is probably the front runner right now because they're the defending champions. But I think we haven't gone head to head with them in over a month.
Yeah.
They had a pretty substantial margin a month ago, but anything can happen. And over the course of 4 to 6 to 8 weeks, however long it's been since we competed against them. So, we'll see what happens on Saturday. You're right about the progress being slower later in the year because you make so much progress in such a short time in the early season because you're starting from scratch, you're starting from nothing, and you get so much better, so much faster earlier in the year. And then at the end of the year, you're already really good and refined. It's hard to get that extra 5%, that extra 10%. So that's always the hardest part at the end of the season, keeping everybody fresh and motivated for the end of the year and in the right mental state to finish strong is tough. It's a balancing act, really, to be able to get that rehearsal time in, keep everybody fresh on the field, and still wanting to be there and really wanting to do as well as they can, which that's never a problem. I mean, I think we had a great rehearsal last night. And we're moving in the right direction. So,
for sure. I personally say, I think closing the less than 1 point gap, I think will definitely be achievable. And like you said, we haven't gone head to head with Murray, the other competitor, in over a month. So who knows what kind of gap we're looking at with them. So
it really could be anything,
Yeah. So I mean, I think honestly, I'm right there with you with our chances of state being pretty good.
Yeah, I think they are.
Yeah, I'd agree. So
cool.
All right. And then one last about you question. How do you feel about chicken and waffles?
Chicken and waffles, delicious.
Okay.
Funny thing about chicken and waffles, when I taught at Henry Clay, the last day of band camp, it was always a tradition, and it was a secret tradition for the front ensemble to do chicken and waffles on the last day of band camp. The wind and drumline kids never knew about it. They would be outside in the morning rehearsing out in the heat, and the pit would always do chicken and waffles. One of the pit parents would bring it in, and they would spend about an hour eating breakfast, chicken and waffles. And the staff would slowly sneak in one at a time and have their chicken and waffles, and then we'd go back outside. So if there are any Henry Clay people watching this, I apologize for breaking the tradition there or keep blowing the secret. Maybe it's out already. But that's my favorite chicken and waffles reference or story there. So they're a goofy bunch of people down there. I love that program too. That's where I student taught there. Mr. Sloan student taught there. But we love chicken and waffles. That's my chicken and waffle story.
All food. All right. Well, thank you for coming on today.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Here is our special guest for the week. We had Mr. Brawley before. Now we got Mr. Sloan. How are we doing today?
Doing well.
Good.
How are you?
I'm fantastic.
Good.
State week for the band, always really exciting. How you feeling?
Yeah, doubly as excited and ready to make sure that we do our best, get out there. So we've been preparing for about 4 months, so hopefully we can all go there down to Lexington and give our best shot and show, how much effort and time and commitment that every band student at Beechwood puts into the program. So we're really excited.
For sure, yeah. Now, you said that it's in Lexington. Are finals and regionals at the same place, 2 different places?
No, so we'll do our first semifinals performance down in Frederick Douglass High School, which is a new high school right off the interstate, so it's going to be really nice. Modern design, lots of space, which will be awesome. The football field is huge and turf, so we're really excited about that. And then selected for finals, we'll perform at the University of Kentucky, Kroger Field, Commonwealth Stadium, and we'll get to perform underneath the lights and fill up the entire stadium. There's 20,000 people that go and get to perform along other very, very high-level programs and get to do our best.
For sure. It's always exciting. So progress, I asked Mr. Brawley this too, progress around this time of the season always seems to move a little bit slower. Why do you think that?
Well, we've been learning a specific show and trying to get better for 4 months straight. So, getting to the last big culminating moment There's a lot of pressure and a lot of stress that goes into it, and you're trying to achieve that perfect level. And, it kind of boils down to the perfection is really never going to be there. Ever, everyone's going to find something that they don't like, or there's going to be some kind of mistake that happens, but it's trying to get the best out of yourself. And a lot of it comes down to motivation and energy and how much time and effort you're going to put into it. It's skills that people are born with, and it's not something that you can teach. It's something that sometimes you pull out of each other for how much time and commitment that you're there with one another. So, which is one of the special parts about marching band.
Yeah, for sure. So it is your second year here, correct? You liking it?
Yeah, I love it. All the kids are great. The administration is perfect, and the parent support is unbelievable. So I'm really blessed to be where I am.
Yeah. So I talked to Mr. Brawley about show designs. He said it started around December, something like that. He said you guys are looking at about the same time schedule as you were last year. So thinking about how much goes into the show design, like how much time do you spend just picking out, like, for example, the show this year has 4 movements. How much time do you spend picking just one movement out and working through that?
Yeah, it's really trial and error. And, we talked about how the show design process kind of started in December, but, you can really start at any time. Depends on how much, involvement that you went into it. So, it was really one of the first times that I've been heavily involved in designing a show because of just how much, experience that I don't have in it. And that was really, really fun. Kind of learning that and seeing how someone goes through it. But, we started off with the music side of it. We just picked music that we liked, that we thought would go together really, really well and sounded good and would be the most successful for you guys. And so that goes within trial and error and fitting things together, and we use different programs to splice music together and see if we can get something that sounds like it would be good once it would be arranged. So then at that point we talk to our show designer who kind of fits the thematic pieces together and see if there's an overarching theme that we can do with it. And then we talk to a musical arranger, and then the last step is kind of the drill design process, because you got to know your numbers, you got to know how many people are going to be in band, and one kid drops the day of band camp or the day before, so the drill is kind of the last part that goes into it. But really you could start thematically or musically. So you can say, well, I want to do a dark show, and then thematically you're there, and then you pick the music. Or I want to center a show around Rhapsody in Blue by George Gershwin, and then you think thematically and how you go through that. So it's really just different pieces, and that's why you surround yourself with so many different people and staff, so you can get a lot of different opinions, and you can get people that have just as much or even more creativity than you, so you're not doing it alone. Because the people that try to design a show alone, write all the music, write all the drill, that's killer on them. That would be a lot to handle. So surrounding yourself with a bunch of people that have that specific skill and those experience are one of the big things.
Get all those perspectives. Right?
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, on to the About You section of the interview. All right, favorite candy?
Reese Cups.
Reese Cups. That was quick.
Yeah.
Are you a big peanut butter guy then?
Very big peanut butter. I think when I was growing up, the majority of my mom's side of the family is from Ohio, so I ate Buckeyes all the time, like the candy Buckeyes. So it's peanut butter and chocolate. So I love that, and I actually make Buckeyes every single year around the holidays. A lot of batches, and I can probably eat a batch by myself.
All right. Well, there you have it, folks. Mr. Sloan, Assistant Director of Bands at Beechwood High School.